Hello and a very warm welcome to Amhara Media Corporation. This is our daily news live from the studio. I am Gaila Damu. Stay with us. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said Ethiopians have held an election that would complete the country's democracy. Abba Brahani reports.
The Premier stated that those Ethiopians who had not able to conduct the June 21st election held in the country due to several reasons have yesterday conducted election that would complete the country's democracy. The Prime Minister pointed out that these Ethiopians have fulfilled their national responsibility by casting their ballots to the parties they think are best. Abiy stated on Facebook that the election was held without any security problems. Similarly, the Prime Minister said residents of Kafa, Omo, Benchi, Sheko, Sheka, Daurodons and Konta Special Woreda located in South Nations, Nationalities and Peoples Regional States have also conducted referendum yesterday to express the form of regional administration they need. He extended a congratulatory message to the people who have been able to determine their democratic rights by freely participating in both of the events using their ballots. Abiy has also thanked pertinent bodies engaged in the execution of the elections for their efforts by accomplishing the tasks in a peaceful and democratic manner.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs has declared 7 individuals working for various international NGOs persona non grata and ordered them to leave the country in 72 hours. Fikradi Zaudu tells us more.
In letters issued to the individuals yesterday, the ministry has declared the 7 individuals listed below persona non grata for meddling in the internal affairs of the country. According to the letters addressed to each individual, all of them must leave the territory of Ethiopia within the next 72 hours as of yesterday. These individuals are Adel Kudor, UNICEF representative in Ethiopia; Soni Onigubula, monitoring, reporting and advocacy team leader at United Nations Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights; Kausi Sansklote, Peace and Development Advisor at United Nations Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Ethiopia; Saeed Mohammed Hersi, Deputy Head of Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Ethiopia; Grant Leiti, Deputy Humanitarian Coordinator at Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Ethiopia; Gada El Tahir Mudawi, Acting Deputy Humanitarian Coordinator at Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Ethiopia; Marcy Vigoda, Head of Office at Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Ethiopia.
In a bid to boost employment opportunities for Ethiopian nationals, the Ministry of Health as well as the Job Creation Commission of Ethiopia have signed a trilateral memorandum of understanding with the UAE-based Response Plus Holdings PJSC. Brian Workana has more.
The signing ceremony took place during the Ethiopian Ministry of Health Dr. Leah Tadesa's visit to Abu Dhabi. The Memorandum of Understanding, which reflects the vision of the leadership of both countries, seeks to enhance job opportunities for Ethiopian professionals in the United Arab Emirates. Response Plus Holdings (PJSC) is the United Arab Emirates' largest provider of on-site healthcare management and medical emergency transfers from remote work sites. The company, which manages over 260 site clinics and has the largest private fleet of ambulances in Abu Dhabi, was recently listed on ADX's second market. Dr. Leah Tadesse thanked the leadership of the United Arab Emirates for easing the channel for job seekers from Ethiopia to find career opportunities in the country. This would immensely help the professionals from Ethiopia, especially from the medical field, to enhance their knowledge and gain experience in the most modern and internationally accredited hospitals of the United Arab Emirates. This collaboration begins with Response Plus Holdings PJSC, employing 200 plus nursing professionals in a phased manner in various top-level hospitals like Burj Al Medical City in the United Arab Emirates. Chief Executive Officer of Response Plus Holdings PJSC, Major Tom Lewis said, Providing employment to these professionals is just for one of the areas of collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Job Creation Commission of Ethiopia. Response Plus Holdings is also in the process of establishing its office in Ethiopia to support the Ministry of Health's effort to improve tertiary care, emergency services as well as human resource development in the country as per international standards. This move will go a long way in improving the overall healthcare services in Ethiopia. During this endeavor of bringing in improvements to the healthcare infrastructure in Ethiopia, Response Plus Holdings PJSC is also looking at options to work closely with the existing private healthcare providers in the country. The company's focus would be on strengthening the diagnostic service, supply chain management, and super specialty needs of the country in the areas of oncology, cardiac sciences, and trauma.
Researchers say that the new government needs to closely work with international organizations and expose undue external pressure by foreign powers to the international community. Fikradi Zaudu has the details.
Institute of Strategic Affairs senior researcher Mohamed Said told Ethiopian news agency that the new government should work hard to stop foreign interference in the domestic affairs of Ethiopia and against the sovereignty of Ethiopia. He said the motive behind the undue pressure, including sanction, is to meet their geopolitical interests with respect to Nile waters and other issues in the region. The new government should expose this unfair meddling of some foreign powers to the international community by closely working with regional and international bodies and convince the international community about the undue pressure of the foreign powers and interference in the internal affairs of Ethiopia.
This, something against, the sovereignty of, the country, right? So this has to be, averted by any means, that the government should work hard on this, issue, in collaboration with regional tools like African Union, IGAD, and the United Nations, and just telling the truth what is happening in Ethiopia, all right? So by doing so that we can avert the influence of external pressure, especially from United States of America.
He added, besides working in cooperation with the international community, the government should invite independent investigators to look into the atrocities committed by the terrorist TPLF group. The senior researcher stated that the people of Ethiopia also expect the new government to ensure peace, security, economic and social development in the country.
And we need to invite the international community to investigate what happened in Ethiopia, especially in Amhara region, for example, Agamsa and other areas where atrocities were committed by TPLF.
Institute of Strategic Affairs researcher Tesfaye Bazabe said on his part that the intention of some of the external powers is to bring to power a puppet government by disrupting the democratic process in Ethiopia. He added, interfering in the domestic affairs of the country and disrupting the democratic process is not acceptable.
Any kind of sanctions might hurt Ethiopia, but we need to keep our democracy, we need to keep our sovereignty. So any kind of international acts which just come to in our sovereignty is an attack. Therefore, we do not need any kind of poking movement in that sense.
He added, the international community needs to be aware that Ethiopia is entertaining democracy and trying to solve its domestic problems by itself, and domestic problems need to be solved by locally, not by foreign interventionists. He stated that the sixth general election has laid foundation for Ethiopians to begin a democratic era which culminates the formation of a new government.
Agency for Refugees and Returnees Affairs has called upon the international community to step up support for more than 900,000 refugees in Ethiopia. Abebe Brahani has more.
In his exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, Agency for Refugees and Returnees Affairs Director General Tesfaun Gobeze stated that Ethiopia is implementing world's most progressive refugee proclamation that grants refugees with an array of socio-economic rights. He also said that Ethiopia has been working to create job opportunities for the refugees in joint projects and in micro and small enterprises. However, the Director General has called for an increased support from the international community towards the over 900,000 refugees scattered in 26 refugee camps across the country.
Ethiopia has pledged to the international community to create job opportunities for refugees in a joint project approach and also in different micro and small enterprises. So what we are calling for the international community is to comply their end, because it's not only Ethiopia that pledged. Ethiopia pledged to give the opportunity to create the guidelines, the necessary frameworks for the refugees, but we are also calling for international community to step up their assistance to the operation so that we can fulfill the pledges we have already made.
Following the approval of the proclamation, he said the government of Ethiopia has enlisted resident permit guideline and prepared manuals that bridge the guidelines set out in the proclamation. He added the government, together with partners, is also undertaking an irrigation project that benefited over 30,000 refugees and hosting communities to mainly ensure the refugees' self-reliance in food security.
We have enlisted some guidelines that can serve as bridges to realize the proclamation and the guidelines that are set out in the proclamation. These are the residence permit proclamation, the residence permit guideline, and also other manuals that would help us to fulfill the pledges we made in the proclamation.
It was learned that the proclamation allows refugees to obtain work permits, access primary education, obtain driver's license, legally register life events such as birth and marriage, and open up access to national financial services such as banking. He pointed out that they have the right to work, own license, bank account, and freedom of movement and out-of-camp privilege for those who comply with the guidelines. The law has given an array of rights to refugees who are staying in Ethiopia to realize these aims. The agency is also working with international community to make sure that refugees who are staying in Ethiopia have self-reliance. He added that the agency is working on self-reliance and other durable solutions for the refugees. At the heart of the framework is a more comprehensive response to displacements in which refugees are included in national services like health and education rather than setting up parallel systems. It also focuses on ensuring refugees have the opportunity to be self-reliant and can contribute to local economies in a way that also benefits their hosts. Agency for Refugees and Returnees Affairs Director General indicated that humanitarian operation should not be subjected to political affiliations of countries.
We believe that refugee operation is a humanitarian operation and it shouldn't be subject to political interpretation or political alignment of countries, and we still strongly believe that the hosting the refugees and helping them to self-reliance is in the best interest of every country in the world. It's not only Ethiopia's responsibility to take care of refugees, and we don't think that this should be subject to any kind of political affiliation or disaffiliation between countries.
Most of the over 900,000 refugees in Ethiopia live in underdeveloped localities that need different developments, with about 45% living in Gambela region. The agency is also working in partnership with partners for the safety of refugees in area of insecurity, particularly in Tigray. The refugees in Ethiopia mainly came from neighboring countries including Eritrea, Somalia, South Sudan, but also from other African and Middle East countries. The Parliament adopted revisions in the existing refugee law in 2019 to create favorable conditions for refugees in the country, which was held by the international community.
You're watching Amhara Media Corporation, Amhara TV News, and now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate and carat rate. That's all the news we have for today. I am Gaila Damu. Many thanks for watching and stay tuned with the rest of our programs.